Now, this is the account of how Bad Tibira, the metal city, was established, and how in the 40th Shar, the Anunnaki in the Abzu mutinied. In the 25th Shar was Anzu judged and executed. The unrest of the Ajiji it subdued, but left it simmering. To Lamu Marduk was sent, the spirits of the Ajiji to raise, to their well-being pay attention. On Earth, changes were by Enlil and Enki discussed. To avoid unrest on Earth, they were considering. The stays on Earth are too prolonged, to each other they were saying. Ninmah, for counsel they asked. By her changing visage, they were alarmed. Gold to Nibiru must more quickly flow. Salvation must be faster provided. They all agreed. Ninurta, in the innards of planets learned was, to his elders words of wisdom he was saying. Let a metal city be established, therein the gold ores to be smelted and refined. Therefore, less weighty cargoes from earth shall be lofted. Each rocket ship more gold could carry. Room for Anunnaki to Nibiru return there shall be. Let the tired to Nibiru return. Let fresh ones them on earth replace. Enlil and Enki and Ninmah of Ninurta's suggestions were in favor. Anu was consulted, and his approval gave. In the Eden was the metal city planned. On that location Enlil did insist. With materials from Nibiru was it constructed. With tools from Nibiru it was equipped. 3 shars the construction lasted. Bad Tibira was it the name given. Ninurta, who made the suggestion, was its first commander. The flow of gold to Nibiru was thereby eased and quickened. Those who to Earth and Lamu at the beginning of the prior times had come to Nibiru were returning. Al-Algar and Abgal and Nungal among them were. The newcomers who them replaced were younger and eager. To the cycles of Earth and Lamu and the other rigors they were not accustomed. On Nibiru, whence they had come, the breach in the atmosphere was healing. The great calamities on the planet and in its heavens the younger ones did not know. Of their golden mission, excitement and adventure they especially cherished. As by Ninurta conceived, the ores from the Abzu were delivered. In Bad Tibira they were smelted and refined. By rocket ships to Lamu they were sent. In celestial chariots from Lamu to Nibiru was pure gold delivered. As by Ninurta conceived, from the Abzu to Nibiru the gold flowed. What was not conceived was unrest by the new-coming Anunnaki, who in the Abzu toiled. Truth be said, Enki to what was brewing, heed was not giving. To other matters in the Abzu his attention was directing. With that which in the Abzu grows and lives, fascination he acquired. Of the differences between what on earth and what on Nibiru appeared he wished to learn. How maladies by earth's cycles and atmospheres were caused, he wished to uncover. In the Abzu, by the gushing waters, a wondrous study place he erected. With all manner of tools and equipment he furnished it. House of Life he called the place. To it his son Ningish Zeta he invited. Sacred formulas, tiny me's, the secrets of life and death possessing they shaped. The mysteries of living and dying of earth's creatures they to unravel sought. With some living creatures Enki was especially enamored. They lived among the tall trees, their front legs as hands they were using. In the tall grasses of the steppes, odd creatures were seen. Erect they seemed to be walking. Absorbed was Enki in those studies. What was among the Anunnaki brewing, he noticed not. First to notice trouble was Ninurta. A lessening of gold ores at Bad Tibira he observed. By Enlil was Ninurta to the Abzu dispatched. What was ongoing to discover? By Inugi, the chief officer, to the excavations he was accompanied. Complaints of the Anunnaki he with his own ears heard. They were backbiting and lamenting. In the excavations they were grumbling. Unbearable is the toil, to Ninurta they were saying. Ninurta this to his uncle Enki reported. Let us Enlil summon, Inky said. Enlil in the Abzu arrived. In a house near the excavations he was stationed. Let us unnerve Enlil in his dwelling place, mine working heroes shouted. Of the heavy work, let him relieve us. Let us proclaim war. With hostilities, let us gain relief, others shouted. The Anunnaki in the excavations the words of incitement heeded. To their tools they set fire. Fire to their axes they put. They troubled Inugi, chief officer of the mining. In the tunnels, they him seized. They held him as they went to the doorway of Enlil's dwelling. They made their way. It was night. Halfway through the watch it was. Enlil's dwelling they surrounded. Their tools as torches they high held. Kalkal, the gateway's guardian, bolted the door and Nuska aroused. Nuska, Enlil's vizier, roused his lord, got him out of bed, thus saying, My lord, your house is surrounded. Battling Anunnaki to your gate came up. Enlil summoned Enki. Enlil Ninurta summoned to his presence. What do my own eyes see? Is it against me that this thing is done? Thus was Enlil to them saying, Who of the hostilities is the instigator? The Anunnaki stood together. Every single one of us hostilities has declared. Excessive is the toil. Our work is heavy. Great is the distress. So they were to Enlil saying. Words of the happenings Enlil to Anu beamed. Of what is Enlil accused? Anu inquired. The work, not Enlil, is the trouble causing, Inky to Anu was saying. The lamentation is heavy. Every day the complaints we could hear. The gold must be obtained, Anu was saying. The work must continue. Release Anugi for consultations, Enlil to the hostile Anunnaki said. Anugi was released. To the leaders he was thus saying, Ever since Earth's heat has been rising, the toil is excruciating. Unbearable it is. Let the rebels to Nibiru return. Let new ones come in their stead, Ninurta said. Perchance new tools you can fashion, Enlil to Inky said, for the Anunnaki heroes the tunnels to avoid. Let us summon my son Ningish Zeta. Counsel with him I wish to take, Inky thus responded. They summoned Ningish Zeta. From the house of life he came. With him Inky huddled. Words amongst them they exchanged. A solution is possible, Inky was saying. Let us create a Lulu, a primitive worker, the hardship work to take over. Let the being, the toil of the Anunnaki carry on his back. Astounded were the besieged leaders, speechless indeed they were. Whoever heard of a being afresh created, a worker who the Anunnaki's work can do? They summoned Nimma, one who of healing and succor was much knowing. Inky's words to her they repeated. Whoever of such a thing heard? They her asked. The task is unheard of, she to Inky said. All beings from a seed have descended. One being from another over eons did develop. None from nothing ever came. How right you are, my sister, Inky said, smiling. A secret of the Abzu, let me to you all reveal. The being that we need, it already exists. All we have to do is put on it the mark of our essence. Thereby, a Lulu, a primitive worker, shall be created. So did Inky to them say. Let us hereby a decision make, a blessing to my plan give. To create a primitive worker, by the mark of our essence, to fashion him. To create a primitive worker by the mark of our essence to fashion him. So was Inky to the leaders saying, the being that we need, it already exists. Thus did Inky to them a secret of the Abzu reveal. With astonishment did the other leaders Inky's words hear. By the words they were fascinated. Creatures in the Abzu they are, Inky was saying, that walk erect on two legs. Their forelegs they use as arms. With hands they are provided. Among the animals of the steppe they live. They know not dressing in garments. They eat plants with their mouths. They drink water from lake and ditch. Shaggy with hair is their whole body. Their head hair is like a lion's. With gazelles they jostle. With teeming creatures in the water they delight. The leaders to Enki's words with amazement listened. No creature like that has ever in the Eden been seen, Enlil, disbelieving, said. Eons ago, on Nibiru, our predecessors like that might have been, Ninmah was saying. It is a being, not a creature, Ninmah was saying. To behold, it must be a thrill. To the house of life, Enki led them. In strong cages, there were some of the beings. At the sight of Enki and the others, they jumped up. With fists on the cage bars they were beating. They were grunting and snorting. No words were they speaking. Male and female they are, Enki was saying. Male hoods and female hoods they have. Like us from Nibiru coming, they are procreating. Ningishzida, my son, their fashioning essence has tested. Akin to ours it is. Like two serpents it is intertwined. With our life essence shall be combined. Our mark upon them shall be. A primitive worker shall be created. Our commands will he understand. Our tools will he handle. The toil in the excavations he shall perform. To the Anunnaki in the Abzu relief shall come. So was Enki with enthusiasm saying. With excitement his words came forth. Enlil at the words was hesitating. The matter is one of great importance. On our planet, slavery has long ago been abolished. Tools are the slaves, not other beings. A new creature beforehand non-existing you wish to bring into being? Creation in the hands of the Father of all beginnings alone is held. So was Enlil in opposing, saying, stern were his words. Enki to his brother responded, not slaves, but helpers is my plan. The being already exists, Ninmah was saying. To give more ability is the plan. Not a new creature, but one existing more in our image made. Enki with persuasion said. With little change it can be achieved. Only a drop of our essence is needed. A grave matter it is. It is not to my liking, Enlil was saying. Against the rules of planet-to-planet journeying it is. By the rules of earth coming it was forbidden. To obtain gold was our purpose. To replace the Father of all beginning it was not. After Enlil thus had spoken, Ninmah was the one to respond. My brother, Ninmah to Enlil was saying, with wisdom and understanding has the Father of all beginning us endowed. To what purpose have we so been perfected, else of it utmost use to make? With wisdom and understanding has the Creator of all our life essence filled. To whatever using of it we capable are, is it not that for which we have been destined? So was Ninmah words to her brother Enlil directing. With that which in our essence was granted, tools and chariots we have perfected, mountains with terror weapons we shattered, skies with gold we are healing. So was Ninurta to his birth-giving mother saying, let us with wisdom new tools fashion, not new beings create. Let by new equipments, not by slave beings, the toil be relieved. Whereto our understanding does us lead, to that we have been destined. So was Ningishzida saying, with Enki and Ninmah, he in agreement was. What knowledge we possess, its use cannot be prevented, Ningishzida was saying. Destiny indeed cannot be altered. From the beginning to the end, it has been determined. To them, Enlil was thus saying, destiny it is, or fate it is, that to this planet us has brought, to gold from the water's foil, to put Anunnaki heroes to excavating toil, to a primitive worker create to be planning? That, my kinfolk, is the question. Thus, with graveness, Enlil was saying, is it destiny? Is it fate? That is what deciding requires. Is it from the beginning ordained, or by us for choosing? To put the matter before Anu, they decided, Anu before the council the matter presented. The elders, the savants, the commanders were consulted. Long and bitter the discussions were. Of life and death, fate and destiny, words were spoken. Can there be another way the gold to obtain? Survival is in danger. If gold must be obtained, let the being be fashioned, the council decided. Let Anu forsake the rules of planetary journeys. Let Nibiru be saved. From Anu's palace, the decision to Earth was beamed. It Enki delighted. Let Ninmah my helper be. Of such matters understanding she has. Thus was Enki saying. At Ninmah with a longing he was gazing. Let it so be, Ninmah was saying. Let it so be, Enlil did say. By Inugi was the decision to the Anunnaki in the Abzu announced. Until the being is achieved, to toil willingly you must return, he said. There was disappointment. Rebellion there was not. To the toil the Anunnaki returned. In the House of Life and the Abzu, how to fashion the being Enki to Ninmah was explaining. To a place among the trees Ninmah he directed. A place of cages it was. In the cages there were odd creatures. Their likes in the wild no one had seen. 4 parts of one kind they had. Hind parts of another creature they possessed. Creatures of 2 kinds by their essences combined to Ninmah Enki was showing. To the House of Life they returned. To a clean place with brightness shining they led her. In the clean place, Ningishzida to Ninmah the life essence secrets was explaining. How the essence from 2 kinds combined can be, he to her was showing. The creatures in the tree cages are too odd. Monstrous they are, Ninmah was saying. Indeed so, Enki responded. To attain perfection, for that you are needed. How the essences to combine, how much of this, how much of that to put together. In which womb conception to begin? In which womb should the birth be given? For that, your succor and healing understanding are needed. The understanding of one who gave birth, who is a mother, is required. A smile on the face of Ninmah was. The 2 daughters that Enki she mothered, she well remembered. With Ningishzida, she surveyed the sacred formulas on the Mies were secreted. How this and that were done, of him she inquired. The creatures in the tree cages she examined. The 2-legged creatures she contemplated. By a male inseminating a female are the essences transmitted. The 2 entwined strands separate and combine an offspring to fashion. Let a male Anunnaki a 2-legged female impregnate. Let a combination of offspring be born. Thus did Ninmah say. That we have tried. With failures it resulted. To her Enki responded. There was no conceiving. There was no birth.